Hello, my fearless seekers. My name's Amanda. Welcome into today's collective tarot reading. I didn't pre-pull any cards for the message today. I received this message in a dream state, and it felt profound. I heard they expected too much, and so did you. So I feel this message is going to be for someone who is dealing with a family dynamic or a relationship dynamic where there has been expectations on both sides and additionally disappointment on both sides. But I feel like the weight has been put on you to live up to somebody's expectations and you feeling not good enough. You may be shrinking because you feel you can't live up to someone's expectations, or you constantly feeling like you're failing. So if this is resonating with you, then this reading is going to be for you. Additionally, I feel there is some supportive messaging here about you expecting too much of who it is that you're trying to please, trying to live up to the expectations of, and who you're trying to prove yourself to. So you almost maybe putting too many expectations on this person to be who you need them to be, but also yourself. You're putting the very same expectations that they have of you subconsciously onto yourself. So there's a disappointment in self that's coming through as well. So let's get straight into pulling some cards today. I want to help you gain a fresh perspective on this and offer you some insights that will help you transform or take aligned action in your life. But more importantly, make you feel empowered in whatever it is that you are moving through. Always use your discernment and feel welcome to comment on what you might see or sense in the cards today. I do always enjoy hearing that. So for the collective, let's open it up to see what this is all about. Expectations, high standards, not living up to that, and then feeling disappointed. Let's get a card on this. Womb. I need more information. Breathe. And one more. Shadow. With embrace at the bottom of the deck. I feel like this feeling of expectation is definitely familial. And there's this very difficult energy coming through about I don't want to say you being the golden child, but somebody who would fix all of the issues, all of the problems, who would solve things for other people, who would hold space for other people, who would achieve higher and greater than your ancestors. And that came at a very early age, even in conception, where there was this idea of you, I don't know, breaking ancestral patterns, but doing it in a way that was grand and fantastic. And that very well could be the case. Maybe you have achieved wonderful things in your life, but I feel this came with pressure and to a degree of cost. Cost to your own expression, cost to your own well-being and wellness. Maybe it has created a sense of anxiety. Even I'm getting panic attacks My chest is getting really tight. So, because I feel that this fear of not living up to someone else's expectations when it came down to taking action was a driver, but it was also an incredible weight that created tension in your body, that didn't allow you to move beyond the container or the structure that you were given. It's really hard energy is what I'm feeling with that. And I feel like part of that, you just wanted to be, I'm looking at embrace. You wanted to be accepted for who you were, as you were, and not having to prove yourself in order to receive love, to receive acceptance, to feel worthy as you are, at the heart of who you are, at the core of who you are, for the things that you value, for how you treat people, not necessarily in your productivity or what you can do for others. Now, I'm loving this card here. As part of your opportunity in this space is this is a moment to release the tension. When we think of breath, and even when we think or look at this card, there's a lot of spaciousness, a lot of room for things to flow and grow. There's some transformation in this space. And in this womb space, there's only one thing that you can really do in that womb space, is to grow and to form into a human being. Whereas this, I feel you're a fully formed human being now. And there is this energy of expansion and contraction in a way that feels natural. And when we think of air, we think of breath of life, we think of fresh air, we think of meditation. Breath work could be something to look into and research, as that may release some tension within the body that you've been hanging on to. You could also be having some trouble with your lungs. Again, I was getting that chest tightness. So you may have some trouble with your lungs or your breathing. Maybe somebody here has asthma. So there could be some physical symptoms that are coming along with this pressure to perform, this pressure to produce, this pressure to live up to expectation. And this is a moment, an opportunity to start to unravel the binds that are restricting your movement, that are restricting your breath. I feel this is metaphorical and spiritual more so than physical, but it could also be physical as well. And this may be a difficult process because if we are dealing with childhood trauma, childhood wounds, parental figures, then this could be a lot more difficult to do. This is a lifelong pattern that has to be unraveled over time. So there's a feeling of when the panic sets in, when the anxiety sets in, learning how to use your breath to release that tension and being very aware of how you're breathing in those moments could be a very good first step for you. And almost, this may sound silly, but hugging yourself when you are feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed. A lot of the times that physical touch or that physical embrace, whether by others or by you, can automatically signal to the body that you are safe. So it is creating space and safety for yourself to breathe. And so if you get into a situation where you feel like you can't breathe, is there an opportunity to pause the conversation or step away from that conversation? Have a phrase in mind so that if you do get into that situation, you can easily say, I'm going to need some time to think about this, or can I get back to you on this? And giving yourself that space to breathe and to work through whatever emotions are coming through. Now, I think the big part of this challenge is doing shadow work, because what you see in yourself may not be your reflection, but somebody else's reflection or perception of you. So working on the shadow aspects, and those shadow aspects, you can do a bit more research, are those subconscious drivers, those subconscious beliefs, the stories that we have inherited, even the inherited patterns from our lineage, or the inherited traumas from our lineage, and even the ego that keeps us locked into a specific place that is familiar but may not be healthy. It's ego to the extreme. And if we look at a lot of the leaders in the world who have a lot of money and not a lot of compassion, this is ego in that negative form. It's very selfish. I don't think that's the case here, but I do think your shadow has some information or messages for you that you can start to see or unpack that will help you understand this dynamic, because I feel once you see it, it's not going to have as much power over you, because you can identify it, you can change the story in real time, you can change the pattern in real time. It may take time, but that is the beauty of shadow work, is you can see where you are limiting yourself, where there is this perception of limitations based on how others are making you see something, how the guilt, the shame, the pressure might be driving you to do things out of integrity or authenticity. So let's get some more tarot cards to get a bit more info on this. More importantly, how to work through this a little bit with more ease. Let me know in the comments if this message is resonating so far. So the womb, can we get more information on this womb in terms of expectation? We have the Tower in reverse. One more. We have the Six of Cups, so definitely familial. And something that I feel you haven't been able to change. I feel you've wanted to make drastic changes to this dynamic and connection, a relationship. It's really hard with family stuff. I will say that. Now, if this is a relationship, some other kind of heart-centered relationship in your life, then I do feel like this has been somewhat of a comfort for both of you. This is just how it's always been. So it's really hard to see the changes or to see how to change it when there is such a historical connection and also a historical pattern. And so once you start to interrupt that pattern, then that's when things get tricky. And that can even pressure you more. So you have to be prepared for the changes that you would like to make, because I feel that they are foundational, very foundational. I do feel this is familial more than anything. So changing a family dynamic or a family pattern, and you being the leader of that, is going to take a lot of courage, a lot of strength, a lot of discipline to really be grounded in who you are, what you need, and to be able to uphold boundaries without giving in to any guilt or shame that might come your way. And that might be tough. This isn't cruel. There is a way to go about it diplomatically. There is a way to still love and be loved. I don't think this is something... I don't get a no contact situation. So we're looking at the shadow work now. Yes. So we have the Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck in reverse. I love that because it indicates healing, and you no longer stepping into or being vulnerable to the pain, the trauma, the guilt, the shame, the pressure, the stress, the anxiety, whatever it is that you have been exposed to up until now, because this has been too painful for you to carry. And again, I do feel that there has been some physical symptoms in regards to this. Please see your doctor about any specific ailments or symptoms that you might be having. And with the shadow work, we have the Ace of Cups and the Hermit. I love this because this is about an individual journey of self-love and self-care. And that does not necessarily mean it's going to be comfortable, but it is aligned to your highest good and to getting to know yourself a little bit deeper, on a deeper level. This is giving yourself the compassion, the care, the love that you need that maybe you never got or you needed back then but never received, because the people in our lives can only meet us where they are, not where we want them to be. And so I feel that expectation, again, your expectations of others might be misaligned. So there's a radical acceptance of what is and giving yourself the love that you need through this shadow work, through this inner exploration, maybe this spiritual awakening that you are moving through. There's a level of hope and faith here that you have to have in yourself in order to bloom from this experience and not stay wrapped up and bound to the way that things have been done in the past, because it's not working for you. So it's time to get really clear about why and how you would like to move through this. And the Hermit is the space that we were talking about earlier with the Breathe card. It is that isolation, but not in a detriment, not to the point where it's unhealthy, but you may require space and time in order to hear your inner thoughts, in order to hear your intuition, in order for you to understand what it is that you need in a connection, how to manage the connections that you may not want to eliminate altogether, but there may be a way to manage them a bit better, or at least manage the results, the symptoms that come through when you are near these people. So maybe it's limiting your time with them, limiting the topics that you discuss with them, and having that be okay. So it's not expecting them to change to meet you where you are. It is accepting what they have to offer and leaving the rest up to yourself to give you what you need. Self-validation, self-love, self-care. Because you have your boundaries in place. You have your rituals, your routines, your practices to be able to navigate these relationships with a little more confidence and understanding where you draw the line, where you say yes, where you say no, where you have a little more tolerance and where you don't. So your invitation this week, my friends, is to create space for yourself, first and foremost, to consider all of the messages that came through today and to just observe. Observe how you feel, observe what you want, observe what you need, and how the people in your life are showing up to meet those or not. Or how you are putting your authenticity, your needs aside to live up to someone else's expectations, or to do the things that you should be doing, but it may not feel aligned, it may not feel correct. So these are the messages I have for you, my dear collective. Please tell me what you took away from the reading today. Drop what hit home for you in the comments. I do want to know. And if you're ready to go deeper, join my newsletter for monthly intuitive guidance. You'll also unlock access to my Patreon community where I share grounded magic and deeper support that I don't offer anywhere else. Until the next reading, you know what to do.